you know. I actually tried to, microscope in regards to the mobile, and it's utterly disgusting. But it's an old keyboard, I got it for free, so I didn't want to waste more on, and it works, so it's not. But anyway, so this is apparently the pagan god of, it looks like the pagan gods of Nana. And why am I interested in it? Well, I'm actually not interested in it. I'm interested in the truth. I want to know what, so I couldn't really care what these pagans actually believed. Yet, I do want to understand more of prophecy in regards to the beast and how it comes together. But there we go. It looks like that must be Nana. I'm not entirely sure. I can't read what it says on the right, but all these, So, well, of course, it would have been a huge help to actually know what is actually on the tablets itself. What happens here? So, Sin, let's see here. Sin, Suen, apparently Suen as well. Sin or Suen, Akkadian Insu, pronounced Suen or Sin. Or Nana, so we have Nana, Suen, or Sin. Of course, that's, different places, I guess, different, but anyway, on Nana, Sumerian, Seski on Nana. Seski, I'm not sure where they get the Seski, but anyway, Nana, that's the thing that we usually seems to go by. Go in regards of Denki is a Sumerian word for God. Its cuneiform sign is most commonly employed as the determinative for religious names and related concepts, in which case it is not pronounced and is conventionally transliterated as superscript D, as to say Inanna. So Nana, was the god of the moon in the Mesopotamian religions of Sumer, Akkad, Assyria, and Babylonia. So that's a huge amount. That's Sumeria. That would be the first civilization. Here we have like a picture of, different cities. We have Ur, Eridu, Uruk, Lagash, Kish, Nippur. That would be Sumer. Or actually, this is not only Sumer, it's Shumer, but it's not only Shumer, it is actually Shinar. And they came from the east, right? So they probably came from, in regards to Noah's Ark, probably, I know there's a lot of sources saying it lays up here. That doesn't make sense because the Bible say they came from the east, right? Came from the east, so they came from this place. So the Noah's Ark should be, to the east. They came from the east to this plain of, I can't remember what they called it, the plain of Shinar or something like that. But, so they're in this area. That's the first beginning after the flood of civilization again. And I saw something in regards to, because they didn't understand how some of the cities was away from the the rivers, or what they you can see the things, but the thing is, apparently they have changed a little since at that time. So actually they did have water, apparently, even if there's no water in that area now, but apparently there was in the past. But anyway, that's interesting. So both Mesopotamian, so in the Mesopotamian religions of Sumer and Akkad, and Akkad was the name of a Mesopotamian city and its surroundings area. Akkad was the capital of the Akkadian Empire, which was the predominant political force in Mesopotamia during a period of about 150 years in the last third of the third millennium. Okay, so during a period of about 150 years in the last third of the third millennium. Now, of course, in regards to that, dating seems a little off, because the flood should have been here, according to the Bible, around 4,400 to 5,000 years. Now, it does seem like we are going in the direction of 5,000 years. So, but that would mean that there is some corruptions in the Hebrew manuscript in regards to the age. So, but that might be the case, But overall, it's a little variation. But we're not talking about millions of years, We're just talking about, The world is around 6,000 years, plus minus hundreds of years. If you go by the Samaritans and the Book of Jubilee, you have around 5,500 years, I think it is. If you go by the Masoretic text and the Aramaic text, you get to around 6,000 years. And if you go by the Greek text, as of course there could be variations of different Greek manuscripts and all that, but that actually, fix it up to, can fix it up to 7,500, I think it was. So you have a variation in regards to the age of the world in regards of these manuscripts, but. And then, of course, you have Josephus, but he supports the Greek manuscripts, if I remember correctly. So you have different things that supports different things. The Hebrew and Aramaic seems to support each other, but the Greek or the Aramaic was translated around the first century, so the mistake might already have, or corruption might already have been in the Hebrew manuscript, whatever. The Samaritans, seem to be less likely of being true, and we know there's some corruptions as well in that. But yeah, so the Greek age and Josephus' age might actually be the more correct. And of course, Josephus is actually using a Greek manuscript apparently. And we have another one that also agrees with the older dating as well. I think it's in Egypt. Also, most likely using Hebrew manuscripts that also agree with the older dating and all that. So it seems to be pointing out that, the flood would probably have been around 5,000 years and not 4,400 years. But anyway, I can't remember in regards to the Samaritans how that works up. But of course, they only have this first 6 books. Yeah, I know most people only know that they have 5 books, but they actually have one more. They have the book of Joshua as well. So anyway, that's. But I'm not sure if you can. Well, I guess you could. Still see how those, ages would. Yeah. But anyway, and see the calculate. Any case, it's a big job. It's really all these numbers and all these calculations and manuscripts and looking here and looking there. But it is interesting. But it's never above 10,000 years old. Never ever. So yeah, we are absolutely. When they say millions of years and all that, it's utter bullshit. Or billions of years, utter bullshit. Pagan bullshit, lies, deceptions, and all that. So apparently, the Mesopotamian religions of Sumer, Akkad, Assyria, and Babylonia. So that's the god of sin, So, and now, in regards of Assyria, I've seen this triad as well, That's and I guess I might have seen it other places and all that, but you see this, you see different places, It's a Sumerian deity, the son of Enlil. So Nana, which is the moon god, apparently is a Sumerian deity, the son of Enlil and Ninlil, according to this. But again, when people are saying, oh yeah, we have these different things and gods and all that, but there's one specific trinity or triad they seem to have, which, goes again and again and again. And I think that's very interesting, because that seems to be, yeah, it's just interesting. And why would it seems to have a special focus on that. So Enlil is an ancient Mesopotamian so-called god associated with wind, air, earth, and storms. He's first attested as the chief deity of Sumerian pantheon. There we go with the pantheon again, right? We have the Greek pantheon, we have the Roman pantheon, and we have apparently a Sumerian pantheon or Shinarian pantheon going back to the first. And then of course we have what? The Roman Catholic pantheon, where they just gave these, entities pretty much Christian names, and there you go, Yeah, we just put some Christian names and Christian glimmer on this bullshit, and now everything is okay, apparently, It's utter outrageous. But anyway, I've seen the Roman Catholics also talk about the pantheon, using the exact same word. the pantheon, of the so-called saints, and yeah, whatever. Keep away from that bullshit system. It's just incredible. It's just full of bullshit. It's just disgusting. Anyway, and you can see those cards they have. You can buy cards, and there's, sometimes a coin in it, and then you can turn the card around. It's in plastic folio and all that, and then you see a prayer to one of these, whatever. You have to be kidding me. How blind can you people be? And so, some of these people that are so-called sainted are the worst of the worst. They were persecuting real Christians and persecuting the truth and all that. But then, apparently in the Roman Catholic Church, you get a special prize. You become, you become so-called sainted, and, in the pantheons of people that people can pray to, right? It's pagan bullshit. Pagan satanic bullshit. Anyway, so Nana is a Sumerian deity, the son of Enlil and Ninlil. Let's see here, which one is the Enlil is that a father or is the man or who is the man, who is the woman here? Is it Ninlil that is a goddess? Okay, so it seems like in Sumerian religion, Ninlil, also called Sud, in Sumerian religion, Ninlil, also called Sud, in Assyrian called Melito, so Mulito is the constant goddess of Enlil. So that's the woman apparently. So apparently these two are apparently father and mother to Nana, the moon god. Yeah, whatever bullshit, and became identified with the Semitic sin. How does it? I guess, there's like a polytheistic religions of the Semitic people. Yeah, I guess there's a lot of polytheistic bullshit religions. Anyway, the two chief seats of Nana or Sin's worship were Ur in the south Mesopotamian and Haran in the north. A moon god by the same name was worshipped in South Arabia. But again, you have to wonder, why do they have this triad? Why is this triad put together? Because again, there seems to be a special thing in regards to this triad. It goes again and again and again. Maybe it was like the three most, if you have different areas worshipping different gods, maybe to have an empire, it's like a union of all these three, so-called greatest pagan gods. I don't know. I don't know if there's a small story behind it, but you see the symbols again and again and again. So where they are together. So I don't know. I really don't know. Of course, I'm trying to figure out what is going on, right? But that would be an option, right? If you are collecting an empire and you have different places worshipping different gods, and those three gods are the most prevalent in the society, you might put them together. I don't know, I really don't know. But, to show that you are, whatever, I don't know. So background in regards of Ensu, which means Lord of Wisdom. Are we still talking about Sin, apparently? During the period of 2600 to 2400 BC, that Ur exercised a large measure of supremacy over the Euphrates Valley. Sin was naturally regarded as the head of the pantheon, So apparently Sin is apparently the head of the pantheon, even if he's spawned by, his father and mother in regards of being gods as well, right? Wasn't they considered God as well? Let's see here. Where was it? And I actually just say it's the son of Enlil and Ninlil. It doesn't say they were identified as gods. And also it talks about, we have different sources saying that this is actually just ancestor worship. So who knows? Maybe Enlil and Ninlil was actually real people, and and then Nana was made into a so-called deity. You know, I don't know. But anyway, okay, let's continue here. He's commonly designated as Insu, this is in regards to background, which means Lord of Wisdom, during the period of 2600 and 2400 BC. You have to remember also, God is taking Abraham out of all this bullshit, you know. God is not going to stand for all this pagan bullshit. So he takes Abraham out of it, you know. I'm not sure when he actually does that in regards of, but where was it? Was it Ur? I think it was actually, was it Ur that he took, he's talking to Abraham. I need to reread the book of Genesis again, you know, and but I think it's Ur is mentioned, isn't it? You know, and taking Abraham out. You know, the thing is, the Bible is real history. You know, it's not fictive. It's real history, and Moses had access to God. You know, so if you have something, you know, when or plagiarize, when they say the Bible, you know, they're going out now, the scholars, you know, the scholars, whatever, are now saying that the Bible plagiarized the old text, you know, of the so-called myth and all that. You know, it's like incredible. How stupid are these people? You know, I shouldn't say that, but you know, you give me a break. You know, you have, you know, over 100 flood history or stories, and you just proclaim it a myth because you don't want to go along with the Bible. And first thing you hear about these, you know, oh, you know, the flood is only in the Bible. We don't have any other historical blah, blah, blah. And then you find out that's, you know, and then, oh, no, but you know, the Bible plagiarized these stories. So you just go from one extreme to another extreme, you know, instead of just saying, oh, maybe because the Bible is true, you know. Yeah, but anyway. Again, we have some variations in regards to different manuscripts and all that, but it's not like, you know, what people want to, is like, oh, it's just totally corrupted. Yeah, give me a break, you know. If we have some variations in regards of the years and all that, you know, of course we want to get closer to the truth, but we're still talking about, you know, some you know, pretty. You know, I guess it would not be so, but it's still minor compared to, you know, evolution about millions and billions of years. You know, we're still not. We're only talking about 5,500 to 7,500 years of difference. You know, that's 2,000 years of difference. You know, compared to evolution, that's actually pretty small. You know. It is, you know, and we could, you know, if we actually put our effort into it, we could probably figure out what is true and what is not true. And I think at the older age might be more true, actually, but I might be wrong, you know. But I don't believe the Samaritans got it right, you know. I think they got it wrong. But anyway, but we can use all the manuscripts and all the sources to help us to get closer to the truth, as usual. But yeah, but that's one of the variations of, you know. Anyway, so let's see here. So sin, okay, this is here. It is to this period that we must trace. Oh no, so yeah, okay. He is commonly designated as Insu, which means the Lord of Wisdom, during the period of 2600 to 2400 BC, that Ur exercised a large measure of supremacy over the Euphrates Valley, and Ur would be a city, as the city Ur. Anyway, Sin was naturally regarded as the head of the pantheon, according to this. It's a citation needed, but anyway, it is to this period that we must trace such designations of Sin as father of the gods, chief of the gods, creator of all things, and the like. The wisdom, you know, God said we shouldn't worship the, you know, the heavens in regards of the moon and the, you know, the stars and the, you know, and all that bullshit. So, you know, it's also interesting that the Mohammedans are using the moon and the Roman Catholics are using the sun. You know, it's just, and they're actually being connected by so-called Mary. It seems, you know, the Queen of Heaven. They have a lot of things where they are in agreement with these, you know, these fallacies. It's both fallacies, it's both bullshit, and they're in agreement pretty much with this Mary bullshit. It's two sides of the same wicked coin. Of course, Rome is the head. The Antichrist pretty much is the head, of course, because Rome at some point will be destroyed. And I don't know if that also would be the Roman Catholic system overall that will be destroyed at that point. It might be, but yeah, because sometimes the city also represents the nation as a whole, it seems, So in regards of Jerusalem also representing Israel and all that. So in regards of Rome, of course, represents Roman Catholicism. So maybe there's a more of a destruction actually coming ahead, in the future at some point when the tares or the poisonous darnel is going to be cast into the fire and the good eatable wheat taken into his barn. But that's still future. But anyway, the wisdom personified by the moon god is likewise an expression of the science of astronomy, the practice of astrology, in which the observation of the moon phases is an important factor. It's wonderful, it's just wonderful in regards of his wife was, I'm thinking in regards of, God giving more and more and more. It's like wonderful, it's just, but of course God can give or take away, so, that's, anyway. His wife was Ningal, great lady, who bore him Utu Shamash, which is in regards to the sun, and Inanna, which is Easter, the goddess of the planet Venus. And as I understand it, they have like 7 planets. They had this thing, where you have different planets and all that. Also, the Assyrians do that as well. I was researching in regards of Assyrians in nowadays, and they made some clothing in regards of the old Assyrian and all that. They got into paganism as well. Now, and they, showing the eye of Satan pretty much, and you have these different planets and all that, and connected with the gods and all that. I can't remember it all, but it's pretty much the same that you see in Babylonia, it seems, where you have these, and I guess that might actually be the Tower of Babel. I wonder that the Tower of Babel might actually just have been a tower of, pagan deities, no wonder that, that Jehovah would say, see what they're doing, this is incredible, it's just, and going down to confuse their languages, But yeah, now we are returning to this bullshit, the new world order, and in regards of the poop, it's called, I call it poop doom. We are returning to poop doom, and because people don't stand for the truth, and when people don't stand for the truth, the devil runs amok and takes it all over, and that's what is happening in our days. But of course, we should just trust God, because even if it looks very bad in the world, God has a plan, and he knows the beginning from the end. And we know that we win, If we're keeping close to God, God is the winner. So, we are on the winning team, even if it looks like we are losing, I guess it's like a game where it looks like every hope is out, But yeah, then God comes in and, it's awesome. It's wonderful, So of course God is in total control, even if Satan is at this instant, looking like he's actually, winning. Well, he's actually losing. He's losing. He will lose. He has already lost in some sense. It's just a matter of time before, before God pretty much puts him totally out. Of course, we have 1,000 years where he's jailed, and then he's released for a short time, and then killed off in the lake of fire. So yeah, that's future. Still, we have and that's of course the interesting thing, because God knows the beginning from the end. So we know by reading, we can get to know by reading the Bible what is going to happen in the future. And of course, we see the fulfillment of God's prophecies in the past. So we can be sure that if they were fulfilled in the past, they're probably going to be fulfilled in the future, right? Yeah. Anyway, I think that's pretty good evidence that if the past prophecies was fulfilled, the future prophecies, probably also will be fulfilled. Isn't that a logical conclusion? Yeah, I think it is. a sensible conclusion. Anyway, his wife was Ningal, a great lady who bore him Utu or Shamash, and Inanna, Ishtar, the goddess of the planet Venus. The tendency to centralize the powers of the universe leads to the establishment of the doctrine of the triad consisting of Sin, Nana, and his children. So the tendency to centralize the powers of the universe leads to the establishment of the doctrine of a triad. There we go with the Trinity bullshit, the pagan Trinity, And that's the thing when people saying, yeah, the Trinity is pagan, and this guy that wrote the two Babylon says it's pagan and all that. No, he doesn't say it's pagan. You're taking it way out of context. The problem is he's talking first about the pagan Trinity. And now I haven't read the whole book and all that. I've just done some, quick research in the book. And I just took it from behind and I searched it from behind, And the first thing I found, if you do a search from the behind in regards to Trinity and all that, you find out that he absolutely does believe in the biblical Trinity in regards to Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And of course, people tend to forget the twist, which is the children of God. Now, I've seen some people out there or some organizations actually reject the Trinity and then remember the children of God. So, but keeping I think it was the Holy Spirit they keep out of it. So they have the Father, Son, and the children of God, and we have a family relationship, and then forget the Holy Spirit, because they don't want to have the Holy Spirit. It's like, you have to be kidding me, It's like, but it's nice. It's nice to see, it's just interesting that we are getting it, some are getting it wrong in this way and some are getting it wrong in that way and all that. We have, you can just, if you have if you have a difficulty figuring this out, put it down on paper, Yeshua is explaining it. You say the Son is in the Father, and the Father is in the Son, and and how and this and that, and I'll send the Spirit from the Father right to you, and I will come to you, right? How did Yeshua come to us? By the Spirit of truth, by His Spirit, which is also the Father's Spirit, So the Son is in the Father, and the Father is in the Son by the Holy Spirit, and they are in us by the Holy Spirit, we and them, So anyway, passing from death to life. Anyway, just read John 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17, and you get the instructions directly from our Master, who explains it. That's just, you have other places in the Bible, but that's pretty much, that's the centerpiece, I think, for information on this, So the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and the children of Jehovah. So you see, the Son is from above, and we are from below, but we can become the children of God by being reborn by the Spirit of truth. The Comforter, the one that guides us into all truth, and many other names. So the Holy Spirit, pretty much. I can't remember all the names, but the Holy Spirit, the Comforter, the I guess in some sense the instructor, in some sense, that leads us into all truth, the Spirit of truth, right? And that's interesting, because in regards to truth, if we have the Spirit of truth, why are so many proclaiming Christians in error, in regards to keeping pagan traditions and all that? We only had 500 years to change it, right? Is 500 years not enough to read the Bible and figure out, hey, this is actually pagan, It's shameful to see how little we actually have pulled row from Satan, and actually we're losing a lot at the moment. In any case, So his wife was Ningal, great lady, who bore him Utu, Shamash, and Inanna, Ishtar, the goddess of the planet Venus. The tendency to centralize the power of the universe leads to the establishment of the doctrine of a triad consisting of Sin, or Nana, and his children. So again, apparently we see it again and again, it seems. We have Sin, which apparently is deified. His parents are not deified, apparently, But again, when we go back and it says, we have ancestor worship and all that, some talks about that, that. And of course, in the past, people lived a lot longer. So, which, I know people will say that's, because Satan has turned things upside down. But people after the flood could still live a long, long time, compared to today. So they might have had the establishment of, maybe be seen as God, who knows. So being deified or whatever. Anyway. Anyway, that's something to look more into at least. The tendency to centralize the powers of the universe leads to the establishment of the doctrine of a triad consisting of Sin, Nana, and his children. So, triad consisting of Sin, Nana, and his children. And Sin, Nana, it's the same, the moon god, and his children. And the children would then be the sun and apparently Easter. It seems a little weird that how that works out. Oh no. Yeah, I don't know how that works out, because there must be some story behind this, and I haven't really seen how the story gets together in regards of, is this triad fixed because there was, like, again, 3 areas, and these different areas had maybe maybe these areas had what shall we say, maybe these 3 gods was the most popular gods in that area, and when connected into a so-called empire or whatever, and maybe they would have taken these 3 to keep the people satisfied, so you had 3 gods. I don't know, but at least it says the tendency to centralize the powers of the universe leads to the establishment of the doctrine of a triad consisting of Sin, Nana, and his children, and of course in regards of Shamash and Easter. Anyway, so or Uto and Inanna apparently. Sin had a beard made of lapis lazuli. I have no idea what. Okay, that's apparently blue, I guess. Okay. They tend to love the color of blue, so maybe that's the reason, if he has a blue beard, I don't know. It's a deep, you can see the rock here, and I think that was actually the color they were so happy about, and used, and of course that might be, it has been prized since antiquity for the intense color. I guess maybe in regards if that god, the supreme god or whatever, or, the highest god, had a beard of blue. Maybe they color their beard as well. I think that was something in regards of a clay tablet talking about coloring the hair. So I guess they already were doing a lot of weird things. And rode on a winged bull. The bull was one of the symbols through his father Enlil, bull of heaven, along with the crescent and the tripod, which may be a lampstand. They have this tripod, where you have 3, whatever. On cylinder seals, he is represented as an old man with flowing beard and the crescent symbol. And again, in regards to the colors, a lot of these things we see without colors, and as they might actually be able to restore the colors, because they have the technology in our days to actually figure out what colors was. They check some of these things which was without colors because they have eroded, away, but still there are still small pieces of the colors so they can actually restore a lot of the colors to its original colors by our technology today, so we can actually see them in the colors they were. And that of course helps in regards of the images, helps more of details and all that. In the astral theology, that would be, I would really like to see the colors of in regards of the Jew that comes and bow before the king and all that, if there is any colors in regards to that. I guess it might just be a stone without colors. But anyway, In the astrotheological system, he is represented by the number 30 and the moon. So in the astrotheological system, he's represented by the number 30 and the moon. This number probably refers to the average number of days, correctly around 29.53 in a lunar month. Okay, that makes sense, right? As measured between successive new moons. That makes sense. In regards to moon and month and all that, it is same thing in Danish, måne and måned. You can see the connections between the words. The thing is that we have corrupted our calendar with a pagan, Julian, Gregorian, Roman sun calendar. So which have nothing to do with the Bible. You see the Bible actually goes by the moon and not the. And also the day of the start seems to in Rome to actually have been they must have corrupted it at some point. So I need to figure out how that goes hand in hand. Because I found a source where they talked about the Sabbath and Sunday and all that, and they are pointing out that this is from sunset, So it was like, okay. So did Rome change that at some point? Because in regards of midnight, right? We have midnight now. When did Rome change that? If it actually was in regards of, I don't know. So in a lunar month, as a measured between successive new moons, an important Sumerian text Enlil and Ninlil tells the descendants of Enlil and Ninlil pregnant with Nana or Sin into the underworld. There are 3 substitutions are given to allow the ascent of Nana or Sin. The story shows some similarities to the text known as the descent of Inanna. So the descent of Inanna, that is in regards of Easter. But that's also interesting. They actually understand the underworld, because in biblical, the Bible, we have totally lost it in regards of biblical terms. But we have in the Bible, we have Sheol, and Sheol in Greek is Hades, and the lake of fire is in regards of Gehenna. It's 2 different things, and people have a way of mixing them together, and then they believe they're going directly to heaven and all that bullshit. This is actually a doctrine that is promoted many places that, we're going directly to heaven and all that bullshit. No, I don't see that. We are waiting for the resurrection when, either the first resurrection or the second resurrection. I don't see we're going to go directly to heaven, as far as I can see. And it doesn't seem like we have multiple Christian sources of old that, seem to agree with that. So, the saints are going to inherit what? The earth, right? Not the heavens, the kingdom of the heavens. Yeah, but the kingdom of heavens are going to come on earth. That's the whole idea. Anyway, I just don't know, people, when people are promoting this doctrine of going directly, Protestants as well, it just makes the gap between Roman Catholicism and Protestantism a lot less, So really have to be careful. Anyway, so an important Sumerian text, Enlil and Ninlil, tells of the descent of Enlil and Ninlil, pregnant with Nana or Sin, into the underworld. It's also interesting in regards of sin, because in Hebrew, sin, of course, is transgression of the law. I think no. Actually, is that an English word? Actually, maybe I'm wrong. Actually, I thought actually the Hebrew word would be sin, but I actually might be wrong in regards to that. Oh my! I might actually be in error here. Let's just check that out, because if I make an error, we have to check it out. We have to correct it. Sin. Let's search on sin. What? Because that actually might in Hebrew be something else. Yeah, it is. How do you? Can we actually get the Hebrew here? Typical. See here. Okay, so that's sin. Okay, so yeah, I'm wrong. It's rata. So it's okay. That's okay. So it's just the English words that is in regards of sin. I have to be careful. Sometimes I make mistakes, you just have to be, I'm doing the best that I can, but I sometimes I'm making mistakes, So, so yeah, so that's a wrong thing. Sometimes I even know what is, and then I'm saying something that is actually, when I'm relooking at it, and I'm saying something else that I actually mean. It happens sometimes that I'm making a mistake. So just be aware of that. I'm not perfect. Just sometimes I make mistakes. Um, and thereby, when you find out, you have, you change it. Anyway, an important Sumerian text, Enlil and Ninlil, tells the descent of Enlil and Ninlil, pregnant with Nana or Sin into the underworld. And again, when you look at this in regards to this Sheol, um, that's what is also in the Bible. We have a Sheol, we have an underworld, the realm of the dead, or the place of the dead, and sadly translations are not always so. But yeah, anyway, into the underworld, there 3 substitutions are given to allow the ascent of Nana, or Sin. The story shows some similarities to the text known as the descent of Inanna, which in regards of Easter, right? So, seats of worship, Nana's chief sanctuary, and that's in regards to the two Babylons. The guy that wrote it might have had some wrong. Again, if he was doing the best that he could do at the point, when he wrote it, there might be some issues because he didn't have all the information that we might have, but there might also be some conclusions that are correct. I don't know. He might have some. We have a triad. That's pretty much where I'm just looking at. This is the Wikipedia, and we can see at in regards of the Britannica as well, and others seems to also agree with this information. And movies, I've seen some of the movies where and all that. So and all these images that I've seen in regards of so yeah, this just trying the best that one can do. You don't throw out the baby with the water. There will always be things that you can find is wrong with in regards of the views. I don't think I found anyone that I totally 100% agree with besides Yeshua. There's always things that one does not agree with. You can always find something, but if you're going to throw out the baby with the water, that's just I don't know a better expression than that. I guess that was another expression. But you don't throw out the baby with the water. So if people are trying the best that they can do, you just yeah. So let's see here. Seat of worship. Nana's chief sanctuary at Ur was named Ikishigal, House of the Great Light. Cuneiform. It was at Ur that the role of the in-priestess developed. This was an extremely powerful role held by a princess, most notable in Hiduanna, daughter of King Sargon of Akkad, and was the primary cult role associated with the cult of Nana Sin. I do wonder in regards of people being angry with actually having music in the morning and all that. I guess because people are out partying, right? On the beginning of the Sabbath, and so people are sleeping right in the morning and all that. And it's just I don't know. But yeah, whatever. So daughter. Okay, so this was an extremely powerful role held by the princess, most notable in Hiduanna, daughter of King Sargon of Akkad, and was the primary cult role associated with the cult of Nana or Sin. There's probably a lot of videos out there in regards to these. What was it? Different. What was the information? There was some information in regards to different. Mesopotamia religions of Sumer, Akkad, Syria, and Babylonia. I could probably learn something from maybe looking into Sumer, and Sumerian is Shinar, so that would be that's the pinnacle, that's the beginning of it all, according to the Bible and all that. It would be nice to know, I guess, a little more of that, you know, to unlock the pagan bullshit that they were doing and all that, and getting some more pieces and how it connects to the beast of Revelation. But I think I already have a good good, it's just, you have this beast, right, and it has these characteristics of these three former empires, the Medo-Persians, the Babylonians, and the Greeks. You see but I can't remember where, you have a little in regards to the feet, I think it is, and then this and that. Maybe there's some more information to be extracted from that as well, in regards of, I don't know. Yeah, it's incredible. You learn more and more. It's interesting. You get more and more. You look at the world and you see on the Bible, and it just goes along. It's how. It's like you get a little from there, and you get a little from here, and you get open it. It's opening up. It's all these. It's just totally unclothing Satan, pretty much. It exposes Satan on so many levels. And of course, we want to make as much havoc as we can on Satan's kingdom, right? Because we don't like Satan. We don't really like him. He's out there to deceive and lie and all that, and we don't like that, right? So the more damage one can do to his kingdom, the better, Yeah. So anyway, the cult of the moon god spread to other centers, so that temples to him are found in the large cities of Babylonia and Assyria. So Babylonia, I wonder if that was the later kingdom as well, in regards of, because I think there's like two, isn't there? Or maybe actually the first one is in regards of the Shinarians, or Shinarians. That is actually maybe, I don't know, because they had the Babel, right? They have the city of Babel. And then you have the big Babylonian Empire coming later with Nebuchadnezzar, and he fixes the tower. What is it called, the tower thing? He makes it. He makes the finishes the Tower of Babel, which might just be one of these pagan things that is found pretty much so many places. And it might have been in regards to these 7 planets of gods. That they. I could see why God would be angry about that. Now these people, I've just made a worldwide flood to, and this is what they're doing already. You have to be kidding me. It's just incredible. Now here we go in regards of a reconstruction of what might. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure that would be, because as I understand it, that would actually be 7 levels. That's pretty much only 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5, but I don't know if that would be accepted as a. But I've seen some of the reconstructions where they have 7 layers. 1, 2, 3, I guess 4, maybe, I don't know, but doesn't really. I've seen others, but I guess if you have a triad of gods, maybe that would work in regards to the triads of the pagan triad. I don't know. It's interesting as well that the Jews that are falling into Jewish mysticism, Kabbalah, and all that bullshit and all that, actually are calling in a Shekinah, and they are doing a lot of, weird things in regards to this Shekinah bullshit. They're inviting the Shekinah into their home at the beginning of the Sabbath and other things. It's just it's outrageous. But anyway, so the Jews have been led astray into pretty much bullshit. Anyway, I guess Satan is hard at work with the Jews. Some believe that one of the reasons that Satan might be so hard at work with the Jews is because if they actually begin to wake up in regards to the Messiah, they might actually call him. And, as Yeshua said, you shall, apparently, he says, you will only see me when you say Baruch haba b'shem Yehovah. Blessed. It's like Baruch, blessed haba b'shem Yehovah. Blessed is he who comes in the name of Yehovah. So he talks about and that will of course be Yeshua. So maybe Satan is hard at work with the Jews to lead them astray, is because he maybe know about the prophecy of that if the Jews are actually calling for their Messiah, Yeshua, then then he might come, and Satan of course don't want that, right? So maybe he's actually using a lot of energy with the Jews, I don't know. But that might be, one of the reasons why it seems like, the experiences that I've had in Israel and all that. And you have the Jewish mysticism bullshit and Kabbalah and the Shekinah bullshit. And, you have a lot of bullshit on those things. But anyway, it's not the Jews that rules the world. According to the Bible, it's Roman. And actually, it's Rome, the city that rules over the kings of the earth. Which city is that? Well, that's Rome. Anyway, so Nana's chief sanctuary at Ur was named Ishkishigal, House of the Great Light. It was at Ur that the role of the in-princess developed. This was an extremely powerful role held by a princess, most notable Enheduanna, daughter of King Sargon of Akkad. So that must be in regards of the Akkadian Empire. And I still don't know all the details of that area in regards of what historically has happened and all that. I would need to do more research on that. And of course, I would like to do more research on Rome as well. There's a lot of things to want to research, right? And so little time. But wow, have God really, really, it's incredible. If you want good instructions and wisdom and all that, read the Bible. It's just amazing. It's just utterly amazing. It's so amazing. So Sin also had a sanctuary at the city of Haran named Ehulul. Now where did we go? Oh yeah, that was in regards to what? No. Oh, the daughter of the king Sargon of Akkad, and was the primary cult role associated with the cult of Nana or Sin. So there's a cult in regards to, and again, so apparently these beliefs apparently seems to furthering going on in regards of, apparently the Akkadians or whatever, and starting with the Shinarians or the Sumerians, and apparently all the and the Assyrians also, and the Babylonians seems to have a lot of these. I did see a movie in regards of the Babylonians. Well, there was like a fight between the gods as well. I can't remember the detail. Well, anyway, that's a lot of. But I guess little by little one could actually get to understand what is going on in that area, of pagan bullshit, Sin also had a sanctuary of Haran named Ehulhul, House of Joys, cuneiform Ehulhul. The cult of the moon god spread to other centers, so that the temples to him are found in all the large cities of Babylonia and Assyria. A sanctuary for Sin with Syriac inscriptions invoking his name, dating to the 2nd and 3rd century CE, was found at Sumata Harebesi in Tektek Mountains, not far from Haran and Edessa. Sin was, this is Saudi Arabia. Oh, Saudi Arabia. The moon god, right? Could the moon god, have the old pagan moon god have anything to do with Mohammedanism that uses a moon on every mosque on top of it? Well, I don't know if it's every mosque, but a lot of the mosques have the crescent moon, which seems to be the symbol of the pagan god Sin. Isn't that interesting? South Arabia, and actually we have some other connections connecting Mohammedanism with the pagan god. So anyway, Saudi Arabia, let's see. Sin was also the name of the pre-Islamic god of the moon and riches worshipped in Hadramaut. Ha! Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabia. There you go, you Mohammedans out there. There you go. I think we found the connection to your false god of the moon. You're worshipping a pagan god. Now, of course, we already knew that. You're running around. I saw these things where a guy took cameras of them doing these different things and all that, going to, is it Mega? No. What's it called? Yeah, Mega. Yeah, you have Mega. You have the two cities. What is it called? Mega and I can't remember the other at the moment. So many informations up in my brain, and it's not always easy to. But anyway, yeah, it's pagan bullshit. So Sin was also the name of the pre-Islamic god of the moon and riches of worship. You're worshipping a false god. You might do it in the name of God and all that, but it's paganism, pagan bullshit. And of course the Roman Catholic Church and their sun worship, their solar worship. It's interesting, isn't it? Two sides of the same wicked coin. Again, I do wonder if in regards to the iron and clay, right? The Mohammedan dance being the clay and the iron being in regards of the Western world. You see, in regards of the Roman Empire, you see the division. Half of the kingdom is overtaken by the Mohammedans, and the other half is, yeah, anyway. So you have the iron and clay, right? That is intermingled and yet not, they're not, what is it called? They are, like iron and clay. They're not really attaching to each other, and yet they are of the same kingdom. I think that makes sense. I don't know if it's true, but that's, I'm thinking that, you have the iron and the iron is stone, and then you have the iron and clay, but we know the fourth beast is continuing. It's still the Roman beast continuing. So, and then you have iron and clay, So iron and clay, Mohammedans and the Western world, not really mixing together, right? And you can see it still in the Western world and the Mohammedans coming to the Western world. We're not clinging together, We have some big differences still, and of course, then we have sources that talks about that we control the Mohammedans and all that, right? So, they already have them. They're in control of them, so. But anyway, that's interesting. Saudi Arabia, Sin was also the name of the pre-Islamic god of the moon and riches worshipped in Hadramaut. Yeah, so who is Allah? He's the moon god, right? Yeah, moon god. Of course, according to Mohammedanism, Allah doesn't have any son. So, but of course, I guess, I don't know what the information is actually. Yeah, no, because according to the pagan sources, of course, he actually did have, have a son and a daughter, as I understand it. But again, pagan traditions, tend to, vary a little here and a little there and all that. And Satan doesn't really care if he needs to, as long as they're not worshipping the true God, who has a son, That's the God of the Bible. But of course they have rejected, and they actually say that they believe in God, and yet they reject the scriptures of the, it's all bullshit pretty much, because if they actually read their own book, I don't know if the Mohammedans are not that smart or something like that. If they read their own Quran, they should probably see that, hey, it's talking about the scriptures, right? And maybe go back and read the Bible, the real Bible, the real scriptures, and find out who Yeshua really is, Anyway, but I guess that, that might already have been, I think there was something like that. Muhammad, right? His family was already worshipping this God, Allah, right? That was something in regards of, and there's a lot of pagan traditions taking as well in regards of this. And when you see this thing that they're going down and walking around the stone 7 times, or this, cube and all that, and then you have the black stone that apparently came from heaven or whatever bullshit. And apparently can take upon itself the sins, from people and all that. That's why it's black and whatever bullshit and all that. It's paganism. It's worshiping the devil. But anyway, and throwing stones at so-called Satan, a wall. You have to be kidding me. What is wrong with you people? 1.8 billion people. Are you kidding me? Are you really so brain dead? Open your eyes and open your ears and begin to research. This is Don't waste your time with this pagan bullshit, this satanic bullshit. Find out who Yeshua really is. Jesus. You say you proclaim that you believe in Yeshua. That's utter bullshit. You made your own version of him. 600 years after the event, you reject all the first century sources, and then you make your own version. It's not going to fly, Not with Jehovah, Jehovah sent his only begotten Son, so that whosoever believes in him shall live, even if they die. And you reject the Son of God. You reject that he died on the tree, and of course you reject that he was risen from the grave, right? You reject the divinity of Yeshua. And then you go to a false prophet, 600 years after the event. Oh, you got to be kidding me. But I guess, Satan has a way of rounding his... Anyway, it's just whatever. What a bullshit religion, what an utter bullshit. And, seeing Mohammedans killing off other Mohammedans for... Yeah, it's just incredible, huh? What are you guys doing? You really need to think. You're killing off people. For what? For a pagan bullshit god, It's incredible. Stop doing that. Look to the truth and reject the lies. It's just... Anyway, let's see here. It's just incredible, And then you try to close the mouth of the people in regards to free speech. It's like the Roman Catholics, these two systems are just working against the truth, both of them, The Roman Catholics and the Mohammedans, both of them. You both hate the truth, both of you, Both pagan religions, 3 billion people in the world hate the truth. And that's, of course, only the Mohammedans and the Roman Catholics. Then, of course, you have the Hindus and the Buddhists and the rest of the pagan world that hates the truth, that don't want anything to do with the truth. How clear, the Hindus worshipping the many different false gods, sacrificing to them still, What is wrong with you people? Don't you want the truth? Do you really want to worship Satan? Is that what you want? Apparently. Why do you want to do that? Why don't you want to come to the truth, Why do you hate the truth so much? I don't understand that. Why would you want to hate the truth? Why would you love the lies and deceptions and hang on to this bullshit? Just because you grew up in it or what, You really don't want the truth? I just don't understand you people, I don't really... I was looking for the truth. I got into a lot of pagan occult, bullshit and all that. But I was looking for the truth. I was trying to find what was going on and all that. And, yeah. And when I found out that I was absolutely in the wrong, I turned around. Anyway, and I had pretty much found the truth exactly at the place that I didn't think I would find it. Yeah. Incredible, The last place that I would have thought I would have found it, I found it. The devil really have a way of, leading us astray, It's incredible. Because I had this little New Testament, just this little New Testament, and I was so close to throwing it out. Now, be careful of Paulus, but this is in regards of who Yeshua is. But be careful of Roman Pharisee Paulus, 2 Timothy 1:15, and then you could go to Revelation 2:2, So, but anyway, chapter 2, verse 2 and all that. There's a problem with Paulus, so. But anyway, we were warned about wolves in sheep clothing and all that. But, still a great testimony in regards to who Yeshua actually is. The problem with Paulus is that he's leading people into lawlessness. And we shouldn't do that, Yeshua wasn't leading people into lawlessness. He was leading them back to the law, So, yeah. But, yeah, because of this, which I was very close to throwing out, I found out who Yeshua actually was. I began to find out that there's so many lies and deceptions out there in the world. And actually, when you begin to find out who Yeshua actually is, the battle really, really begins in regards to Satan, Satan don't like you having the truth and promoting the truth, You get into a battle at this point, So, a wonderful little book. And the only reason why I actually still had this was because it was look at this. It's the size of this is very small. It's cute, it was cute, it was just cute. So I had it with me, yeah. So I had other New Testaments, at least one other book, but that was normal size, and that wasn't cute. This is cute, right? It's like little, and you can have it actually with you and all that. Now, it is pretty much, I have bought another version that is a little more, hopefully it actually holds better together. The problem is all the things that I put in the other version in regards of, colorization and all that is not found in the other one. So, but it's pretty much the same size, but it's leather instead of, because I found out that some of the first things that breaks on a book is in regards of the outer surface, and of course this is not leather, but you can see it actually breaks, and this is just a thin thing, so it breaks. I think maybe the leather will work better, and obviously I've fixed it on different ways, taping and all that. So what I do is in regards of, I'm giving these away, for example. So I have like 3 of them in my bag, and if anyone wants, if I talk to someone and all that, and I just give them one of these and just warn them about Paulus. Actually, I should make a paper in the beginning or the last bit and glue it together on these, or something I can print out and just say, be careful of Paulus, and all, just point them to the thing so people are warned. But because the truth is in here, but you have to be careful of Paulus, the leaven. You really have to discern, because a lot of people end up in total lawlessness when they read Paulus, and we don't want that, Any case, or maybe it's a way of God testing people if they actually want to follow Him or not, I don't know, but yeah, the law is not done away, And the highest commandment in the law is to love God with all your heart, being, soul, and mind, or what was like the strength, all your strength. So, and who is Yeshua? Well, He is God, right? So we are commanded by the very law to love Him. So yeah, that's the highest commandment. And of course, love your neighbor as yourself. But of course, if you believe in Yeshua and stand for the truth, you are both loving God and you are also loving your neighbor, standing for truth and all that. But yeah, so can't remember overall what the information in regards of the. I remember having some of these from Czech publications, but I threw them all out because the problem was they're promoting the doctrine of going directly to heaven. That's one thing. Another thing is that they're picking God. And I know I was very, I was spiritually attacked when I know it might actually be because there was some information that the devil don't want me to know or whatever. I don't know. But I ended up throwing it all out, and I don't know, but I wasn't so, depicting God. That's not really, that seems a little too, and the doctrine of going directly to heaven and all that. I can't remember. The best cartoons was absolutely from Alberto Rivera, but I can't remember if he was promoting the doctrine of going directly to heaven as well. But have to be careful, because again, the doctrine of going directly to heaven is a Roman Catholic doctrine pretty much, you know. You have the purgatory, which is not biblical either, which also, as I understand it, goes back to paganism again. I can't remember the link for that, but that was something in regard, you know, you're growing, you know, a little by little in regards of the information. Now, I need a break now, and I need to pee, and yeah. Anyway, have a good one. May Jehovah bless you and be with you. This is the 7th day of the week, the blessed and sanctified day, you know, that was set apart from the rest, where God rested. And yeah, anyway, have a good one. May Yeshua be a most precious pearl, and the spirit of truth be in us all. Amen. Have a good one. Bye.